head around the Inside Politics table, ask our great reporters to get you out ahead of some of the big political news just around the corner. Ashley Parker?
So I'm going to be watching Republican donors sort of in a state of abject confusion about what to do next. And I think what happens is going to surprise you. Some Republicans who supported people like Jeb Bush, Republicans who sort of even a month ago couldn't have imagined supporting Donald Trump, are sort of quietly moving over to him or trying to get themselves comfortable with that. And you're also seeing some Republicans who sort of so can't stomach Trump, and these are longtime party people, longtime donors to the party, who are quietly moving and considering Hillary Clinton. So I think the split is going to be really fascinating.
The therapy phase for Republican donors. Manu?
John, last week when Mitt Romney was going after Donald Trump, at the exact same time, Paul Ryan, his running mate for 2012, was doing everything he can to avoid mentioning Donald Trump. It really just shows the dilemma that Paul Ryan is in, particularly if Donald Trump becomes the Republican nominee over a few different issues. One, Paul Ryan is trying to develop a pretty detailed policy agenda, and he was hoping that Republicans could run at it in 2016. It sort of goes out the window if Donald Trump is your nominee, particularly on some key agenda items like free trade, entitlement reform, welfare reform, things that don't necessarily align with Donald Trump's agenda. And additional Republicans that I talked to really are hoping that Paul Ryan could speak out more forcefully against Donald Trump. That's something that he has resisted doing. One reason why is because he's head of the convention, and if we're a brokered convention, he wants to remain neutral. I asked Paul Ryan last week, well, are you worried that history may judge you if you do not do more at this point to step up and try to stop Donald Trump? He said his role is limited, and he'll speak up only when he believes conservatism is being disfigured, in his words.
Difficult box at the moment. Jeff?
No doubt. Well, in 48 hours, voters in Michigan will be voting, and I was in Detroit on Saturday, and I think this headline speaks volumes. Unions holding off endorsements. And not just, it means in the Democratic primary first and foremost, but in the next 10 days, we are going to see votes in Michigan, Illinois, Ohio. And the fact that Donald Trump's picture is right underneath this headline of unions raises an interesting question and a worry for Democrats. Will a lot of these rank-and-file union members side with Donald Trump here should he become the Republican nominee? There's already been an enthusiasm issue for the Democrats on the Democratic side, and this is one of the sort of central concerns for Democrats. You know, these old Reagan Democrats in Michigan, elsewhere, aren't necessarily voting Democrat. In 2008, they weren't necessarily big supporters and fans of Barack Obama, but Hillary Clinton needs them. She needs these workers. So the union endorsements, she was hoping to get them. She didn't get them. Watch that over the next 10 days or so. Who comes out? Watch the turnout in Michigan. That's going to say a lot for what happens in the fall.
Interesting dynamic, and could change the map a little bit when we get to the general election. We'll look at that. Mary Catherine?
Yeah, especially after last night, I'm seeing really notably increased frustration, particularly with the Cruz camp, with Trump's media dominance and what they feel is disproportionate coverage of him when he wins a couple states versus them winning a couple states. As much as there were problematic things about Rubio's approach attacking Trump or, say, Mitt Romney's unendorsement of Trump, and you could have issues with both of those and whether they were the right messenger or the right style, what they did was change the coverage. And I think the Cruz camp will be looking to see if they can break through and find some sort of creative way to figure out how to flip things up, because Rubio did find a way, Mitt Romney found a way, and he'll be telling us about it. The Cruz camp, I think, has yet to find that secret formula.
Well, he does have a potential moment right now, and we should watch him a little bit more closely, maybe. I'll close with this, a little bit more on the money front. Donald Trump has at least a little new evidence to back up his repeated assertion that he's a uniter. A handful of GOP groups normally at odds, if not at open war with each other, are joining forces for anti-Trump TV advertising efforts. Now, these groups range from an organization funded by the Koch brothers to one run by a former top aide to Mitt Romney. A super PAC aligned with Marco Rubio is also part of the effort, as long as several other conservative groups. A big share of this money is being spent in Florida, which, of course, also happens to be the make-or-break test for Marco Rubio. Now, successful TV ad campaigns in Florida don't come cheap. The state has 10 media markets. So watch this week. Florida's 9 days away. Watch over the next week to see if the anti-Trump spending increases or if it flatlines. It's the biggest immediate test of how much big Republican donors are willing to invest in an effort that even many of those who've put up money so far think might be too late.